That wasn't good. Play the thing. Welcome back to the show. My name is Steve. I'm here to review the 19th of May edition of NXT, and yeah, this was not a good episode. This was bad. Let's get into it. So we start off with a match straight away, which is again a plus because there's no 15-minute intros. Toni Storm versus Zoe Stark. Really good match actually. Probably one of the highlights of the show. This was. So the sort of start and end were really the highlights to this. I don't even know what this was. Yeah, Zoe and Toni put on a decent match again like they've done before. I imagine this will go to another match at a later date. Toni manages to hit a Storm Zero at one point for a 2. And then she hits this mad finisher that was like a backwards hip toss into a neck breaker that looked... I mean, even commentary didn't know what it was, but it looked devastating. Toni picks up the win to have Frankie Monet come out at the end. So I presume we're going to get Frankie Monet versus either Zoe Stark or Toni Storm in her debut match next week. Unfortunately, from here, this is where the show goes downhill. We get a Wilder Mendoza interview backstage. They're talking about how Escobar's missing and they still want to go for these NXT tag team titles. Ciampa and Thatcher enter and basically say that they still want to go for these tag team titles as well. This just sets up a match for later on between the four of them. Again, nothing special, just sort of filler. We then get Cameron Grimes showing up in his Rolls Royce. As he exits the vehicle, he asks Jake Atlas to park his car up front. He says that the spot up front is reserved for DiBiase. Grimes obviously flips out and challenges Atlas to a match later on. Just a bit of a nothing segment, really. Coming back from the commercial break, we have Candice and Indy at a spa break, and Indy basically calls Dexter Lumis a loser without realizing that it's Lumis that's giving her a head massage. He walks off with that blank expression that he has. This is all right. I mean, it goes into a second part later on where it turns out that this is where you find out that it was Candice that paid for the flowers that were sent to Shotzi and Ember a couple of weeks ago. They're trying to pay for the spa break, and the beautician comes back in and she says, "Oh, your car's been declined." She initially tries blaming it on Austin, saying that he orders too many pizzas. This was weird because I've never known the credit card company to tell anyone other than the credit card holder what payments are for, because the beautician is like, "Oh yeah, it was for some flowers made 3 weeks ago," and it was like, I'm sorry, when do credit card companies give out that information to people that don't own the credit card? It was really strange. But Candice is worried now that Indy's going to twig that it was Candice that sent the flowers. She says, "You know what this means, didn't you?" She says, "That means he still loves me," and then she just runs off trying to look for Dexter again to carry on this Romeo and Juliet story. This was all right, I'd say probably one of the decent video segments of the show, but yeah, this show's just not good tonight. We then get a Finn Balor Karrion Kross video package. This is a great video package, to be fair. Go back and watch this on their YouTube channel. It's basically almost like a Clash of the Titans feel to it. I mean, they are interviewing other people and on what they think of it. Like, you've got people like Pat McAfee and Paul Heyman, of all people, expressing interest in the match and saying that he says even that Roman Reigns is interested. They're really making this match feel like a big deal when they do stuff like this. So it's really, really good to see. And the fact that they're interviewing Paul Heyman, it makes me sort of look to it as if, well, could one of these two be a Paul Heyman guy going forward? I mean, more Finn Balor than Karrion Kross, because Karrion has Scarlett. Yeah, it was just a really good video package. So it's actually really well done for this. We then get Cameron Grimes versus Jake Atlas. On Grimes' way out, he basically cuts a promo on DiBiase, and it's a video package of all the times that DiBiase's been beaten up. It basically ends with him losing to Virgil in the video package. Grimes is just laughing the whole way through it, and this wasn't good. We come back from the commercial break because, they like to drop the commercial break just before the match is about to start. Grimes did all right in this. To say it felt like he was getting more vicious as the match went on, like just working the elbow in deep in certain places, man. And say, yeah, he was coming off more vicious from it. We then get a picture-in-picture of DiBiase showing up shortly after his music plays and he comes out to the edge of the ramp. Grimes is obviously standing in the ring just staring at him. Jake Atlas manages to get the roll up. I don't know what they've done this week. There's not a lot of people in this crowd, and I think they've reduced the audio piped in because this felt dead. Like, there was points where it was just stone silence and there's no generic piped in crowd, and it just felt weird, man. It felt bad. Like I said, I don't know what it was, man. But yeah, I don't know if they were playing with the audio difference or whatever. But yeah, the small crowd, it just couldn't be replicated for what the pipes in audio is at the minute, so they need to go back to keeping it in, because it sounded dead tonight. We then come back from another commercial break. We get a small Bronson Reed video package just saying about how he's ready for this opportunity for the North American Championship. We then get Pete Dunne interviewed by Arash Marquez, and my God, this was painful. This was like a podcast interview where, as if the person interviewing just literally, I was acting as if no one knew who Pete Dunne was. There's one small decent part to it where Pete Dunne's like, I've beaten every champion. I've beaten Johnny. I've beaten Kushida. I've beaten Finn. The only one he hadn't challenged was Karrion Kross, so I presume he's going to be stepping up for that title. But yeah, this segment was just bad. I mean, Pete Dunne says wins and losses don't matter. Well, unfortunately they do, because you can be the greatest wrestler in the world, but if you lose 10 matches in a row and then expect to get some sort of push, it just doesn't make sense. He states another thing which I think is really factually true, is that he's never had a bad match, which off the top of my head I can't really think of a bad Pete Dunne match, which I'll give him that. But yeah, this interview segment was just bad. Please, no more of these, man. We then get another pointless match. Imperium's Alexander Wolf versus Killian Dane, which was meant to be last week, but Wolf, was apparently medically unfit to wrestle last week, so this week he's been cleared. Yeah, this is just a really short match. I mean, there's not even a highlight I can go to apart from the end of it, where you have Marcel Bartel thrown in a chair. He wants Wolf to use it. Wolf's hesitant to use it at first. The ref at this point sees it. He turns around and grabs the chair off Wolf. Wolf then finally decides that he's going to hit Dane with the chair. He grabs it back off the ref, goes for it. But where he's got it up so high, Killian Dane just hits him with a crossbody and pins him for the win. And yeah, it's just literally about 2 minutes long. This was terrible. It ends with Dane and Maverick walking off into the back. You've got Imperium standing in the ring doing their pose, because this logically made no sense. You've just lost the match. Why would you then stand in ring posing as if you won? It just ends with Eichner and Bartel attacking Wolf, which again, this has been fed the last couple of weeks that there's some sort of problem within Imperium. Yeah, this wasn't good again. You come back from the commercial break and you got Dakota Kai and Raquel being interviewed. They're saying they want to challenge for the tag team titles again. They're playing this whole friends can argue thing, obviously after last week where Raquel went into the trainer's room and congratulated Martinez on a good match, and then Dakota obviously stormed off. They're basically playing saying, yeah, we saw social media. Yeah, there's nothing going on here. We're friends. And then of all people that enter, you get Everrise. And they try to add fuel to the fire by saying that, Raquel's got a title, but you don't, Dakota. The wrong kind of person, I feel, to try and actually force this between the two of them if you're trying to get this Dakota-Raquel split. It basically ends with one half of Everrise saying, do you want to take a pop at me? And Raquel just decks him and knocks him out. It's entertaining, but yeah, I just feel they used the wrong people for this segment. The next match, Legado del Fantasma versus Ciampa and Thatcher. This match felt like they were trying to go at 200 miles an hour the whole way through it. It was so, I can't even explain it. It didn't feel fluent. It felt rushed. Mendoza ends up suffering busted open nose from a forearm from Ciampa, which I think kind of threw it out. I mean, they had to get the medical team to check him during the commercial break. There was a point where you had Thatcher and Ciampa had double ankle locks in the middle of the ring, which is reversed into 2 double pinfalls, and the ref's like, no, I'm not going to count it because the illegal man's in. And it's just like, yeah, it just felt bad. They came back from the commercial break and Ciampa's doing that wonderful thing he does where he runs off the ropes 50 times in a row. He comes off the ropes, hits Mendoza in one corner, goes back off the ropes, hits Wild in the opposite corner. Yeah, it was just really, really good, this stuff. But the tag team stuff was fine, but it just felt like it was rushed, like they were just trying to get through it as if they didn't have enough time. It was really weird. The ending to this match is fantastic. You've got Wild does a top rope somersault over to the outside to hit Thatcher. As he's getting back in the ring, Ciampa hits a Widow's Bell. When he then gets a 2 count, which is broken up because Mendoza breaks up, which is a great segment. As they're all sort of recovering, the Grizzled Young Veterans come down and they drop Ciampa on the apron. They throw him back in, and then Legado del Fantasma managed to pick up the win. Yeah, so the ending was probably the highlight of this. Yeah, this sort of, like I said again, it just felt rushed. It felt, 200 miles an hour. And it just didn't. It wasn't as fluent as what I expect from NXT. Wasn't impressed with this. The match ends and it just goes straight into a promo with Bobby Fish. He's saying he wants Pete Dunne and he challenges to a match next week, which I believe gets announced later on. We come back from the commercial break. We then get that second part to Indy and Candice at the spa. where the revelations revealed. We then cut to Johnny and Austin hyping up for their main event. Nothing special. We then go into our next match, Saraya versus Aaliyah. It basically ends with Saraya hitting that dropkick while Aaliyah's draped on the bottom rope, and then she hits that Saito suplex for the win. Very short, not great at all. The only positive was Saraya gets another win going forward. We then get a video package for Shotzi and Ember. It's a video package just saying that they want to challenge for them tag titles again. They don't see how Raquel and Dakota should get a shot before them. This match is basically announced later on tonight for next week, that it's going to be Shotzi and Emma versus Raquel and Dakota. I presume this will be a number 1 contenders match. Yeah, again, it was all right. It's nothing special. It's just, I suppose it's more developing stories for the following weeks. Hit Row make their way to the ring before a commercial break. We come back from that and we get a Diamond Mine promo video. Again, nothing. It's the same one they've basically been running for weeks. I can see there's tiny variations and changes to the videos, but I don't. It's the same what I think with Frankie Monet and how they've had when they had Frankie debut and they had just had her on screen for 4 weeks before she even has the match. I just think, yeah, it's a bit stupid. Like I said, we're going to probably get pop up at one point, but it's like, why have Frankie Monet come out 4 weeks in a row before having her first match? Just have her come out. What they should have done was with their promo last week saying she's appearing, she's wrestling in 2 weeks. That should have been aired the week before Takeover, and then she should have had her first match the week after Takeover. I don't understand why it's taken 4 weeks of pointless segments to get her on into a match finally. But still, yeah, it's the same with Diamond Mine. I don't know, it's nothing. It's the same package you've been running. It's absolutely pointless. We then get Hit Row in their first match together as a faction. Ashanti, Theodonis and Top Dollar are taking on Araya Davari and Tony Nese of 205, because apparently there isn't anyone else on NXT that can take a loss. The match is pretty short. There's some good stuff from Hit Row. Top Dollar manages to do this crazy single arm drag from one of them who's seated in the corner. Is a weird move, but it looked impressive. Adonis ends up hitting a perfect drop kick, like just the timing, the position, the connection is just great. It ends with only essentially what I can class as a fireman's carry into a suplex. It's almost kind of like the attitude adjustment from Top Dollar. They basically pick up the win here. We then get a promo afterwards with more John Cena thugonomic rapping. I'm not a fan of the rapping, if I'm honest. It's really bad. It also ends with Swerve saying that he's got his eye on whoever wins the NXT North American Championship tonight. So going forward, I believe Swerve's going to be sort of the number 1 contender for that title. We then get a short Regal interview before the main event. He basically says that despite what happened in the Legado del Fantasma and Ciampa Thatcher match, they are now number 1 contenders for the tag team titles and will face MSK in 2 weeks. And I just thought this was a bit strange, because Legado del Fantasma have only won 1 match since that triple threat match with GYV and MSK for the titles. Every tag team's had basically 1 victory. I think Ciampa and Thatcher had a victory over GYV. Legado del Fantasma beat Thatcher and Ciampa tonight. I just don't understand how you can have a number 1 contender from, say, 1 match posted challenge for the title. Really strange. He then goes on to say that the NXT women's division is the best women's division in the world. I can't really argue with it. I mean, the talent is stacked across the board. When you've got the likes of Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, it's a great division. He also says that apparently they've brought in more cruiserweights, so we'll see where that goes going forward. At this point, he also announces that Shotzi and Ember are going to face Raquel and Dakota next week for, again, I presume, a number 1 contenders match. We then get the main event, and man, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of done with steel cage matches. This is the 3rd month in a row we've had a steel cage match on WWE TV. You had Shane versus Braun at Mania, and then Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso in March. I just wasn't excited for this. I was like, I just think the gimmick's been overused too much. Say 3 consecutive months with a cage match, it's just kind of, there's not, what can you do that people haven't seen in the last 2 months? The match is good. The match is fine. The match is good. Johnny comes out, he's wearing an awesome sort of retro 90s X-Men inspired gear, which just looks amazing. It's pretty much what you see in a normal cage match. Johnny tries to escape within the first 3 seconds, which is pretty unique. I don't think I've seen people, I can't remember the last time I saw someone try exiting the cage within the first seconds of it starting. It's just basically, it's like a handicap match. It's Austin and Johnny versus Bronson Reed. I mean, every time Johnny tries to escape, Austin's trying to help him, and then every time Reed's trying to escape, Austin's stopping him. It's just sad to say, it's just the gimmick of the match has just made it not entertaining at all. I mean, it's the same tropes. The cage is used as a weapon. There's a good, decent bit of offense by Johnny and Austin. Johnny comes off the ropes and drop kicks Reed, who's between the ropes and the cage. But as he does that, Austin does a sort of jumping body splash into the cage, so they kind of sandwich him. Something unique I'd never actually seen before. Oh, we then get another commercial break during the main event, man. I just wish they'd stop doing this. It's so irritating. We come back from that break, and I don't think I had audio for about 2 minutes. The broadcast on my end just was like, no, I couldn't hear what was going on. So yeah, that was fun. Thanks for that. We then get your typical sort of cage match tropes. I mean, Reed hits the Samoan drop off the second rope. Johnny hits the sunset flip power bomb while they're both standing on the middle rope, as if they're trying to escape the cage. Austin trying to help Johnny escape. Then he tries to stop Reed from escaping. Reed manages to counter one final beat and throws Johnny into the cage. Johnny manages to hit a jumping DDT from the middle rope as he's trying to escape as well. But yeah, it ends with two tsunamis from Reed. He hits one as he's standing sort of in the middle of the ropes. He hits one then. He then jumps. Instead of trying to escape, he just hits another tsunami. Pins Johnny and wins his first NXT Championship. He is your new North American champion. I'll give it credit. The match is good. It's entertaining, but it does not save the rest of this show. This show is terrible this week. It almost felt as if Vince McMahon was booking it. Utter disappointment, and like, it's worse than previous weeks that I've reviewed. This is probably one of the worst ones I've done so far. But hey, we move on to next week, and hopefully next week will be a bit better. But thanks for checking out the video. I'm sorry I wasn't too more enthusiastic about this one. It's just unfortunately it's a bad show, and it's hard to be enthusiastic when the show's not good. But if you did enjoy the video, drop us a like, give me a comment, let me know how you felt about this one, because yeah, I just wasn't impressed at all. Subscribe to the channel, check out one of our previous videos as well, the one I dropped last week about 5 NXT superstars who shouldn't go to the main roster while Vince is in charge. Tomorrow I've got another one for you, 5 NXT stars who I think would thrive going on the main roster with Vince in charge. But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.